Hi everyone, welcome back to the Crafty Author. My name is Anissa, I am the Crafty Author, and we are going to be making the block of the month for August. And the block of the month that we're going to make is called the Yankee puzzle. And this is what it looks like. It's really easy and it looks super cool. And you're gonna love making it. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started right now. All right, so what we need here is you're going to need 6 of your lighter color, 6 4-inch squares. You're gonna need 6 of your whatever your other contrasting fabric is, and then you're going to need 4 of your darker fabric. So these are the fabrics that I'm working with. I'm still working with all of my fat quarters that I've been working with from the very get-go. So I would be using this white and yellow polka dot one that's on top. It's going to replace this white one that I did on my sample. This tan one is going to be these red polka dots, and then this blue fabric is going to represent the blue that does the pinwheel in the center. So I need 4 4-inch blocks here, 6 here, 6 here. And I'm just going to start cutting. And I am going to use the squares on my mat, not too worried about it. I have all my fabric stacked and folded. I'm just going to count off 4. I'm going to cut it because this is going to give me 2, 4. So 2, 4, 16. All right, so now after I make this cut, I'm good for my blue, and I don't need to cut any more of that blue fabric that's on my bottom. So I can actually remove that. And I can continue cutting these 2. So I just need to do one more cut. So as you can see, this is perfect for a fat quarter. All right, so there's that. And then all I'm gonna do is just turn it. I'm gonna trim the excess off because I want a straight edge. Like that. 3, 4. Cut my 4. 3, 4. I'm just gonna cut off this excess on the side here. Quicker way to do this is just to take these 2 rows here and stack them like so. Over a little bit. Line it up on your line here. Oops, open the blade and then just cut those off. And then I'm just going to count over 4. 3, 4, right here. And all of our pieces are now cut. Okay, so now we're ready for the next step. And what we are going to do is we are going to be marking our backs of our light colored fabric. So this is the yellow with the polka dots. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it and I'm going to measure diagonally from corner to corner. We've done this before. I'm just going to draw a straight line like that. I'm going to do that to all of these pieces right here, all 6 of my light colored ones. This goes fairly quick. And everything's going to turn out great. So I'm going to finish drawing these lines here. Now you'll want pins or something like that. You could use probably the quilt clips, but I would recommend using a pin. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my red squares and I am going to put my yellow polka dot square, my lighter color, I'm going to put these right sides facing each other. And then I'm going to take a pin and I'm going to pin it just like this, just to hold it in place. Okay, so you're going to do that to 4 of these. So you're going to have lighter color to your, whatever your secondary color is going to be in here. So that's what I'm going to do. And then, hold on. Got to make sure it's even here. There's that one. Okay, we're almost done with this. So your 2 squares that are like that are the ones you're going to put together. So you need 4 of these. All right. Come on, pin. All right, then I'm going to take one of my light ones and I'm going to put it with one of my darker ones. So I will need 2 of these together. Right sides facing each other. Okay. This is fairly easy once you get going here. And then you don't have to think about it quite as much. But you want to have the 3 different fabrics because it will help with the contrast of the design of the block. So now I'm going to take a dark colored one and my red colored one, right sides facing each other, and look at that, I don't have a line drawn on here, so I need to draw a line on the back of my red one. And I'm just going to draw that real quick. And I'm going to pop a pin in here. So I got those together. And I'm going to do the same thing again. And all right. Just make sure that this is on there together. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine. And right here where we have this orange line, I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch on this side of it, and I'm going to sew 1/4 of an inch on the other side of it. And I'm going to chain piece these, and that will help me to sew these together so much faster. All right, so I've gone ahead and I finished sewing. So I sewed 1/4 of an inch on each side of my line there, as you can see. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut these apart. Right now they're in a big long chain, and I just chain stitched these. So now I'm going to cut them apart. And you can either, after you get these all cut apart, you can either use a good pair of scissors to cut them down the center on your orange line, or you can use a rotary cutter. It doesn't matter. Either way will work great. I use both methods, but I'll show you here both methods. So if you don't feel like getting up and cutting, with your rotary cutter, and you can cut with your scissors like so. Just cut them right down on that line. I do this sometimes if I don't have too many, but when I have a bunch like what I have here, I like to just flip it over, and I just line up with my ruler, and I just slice down the center. It just goes a little bit faster, I think. So after I get done doing this, I will take these over to the pressing board and I will press them. And I'm going to press to the dark side. And I do like to give my squares a nice finger press too before I do that. So I'll just press it or push it with my fingers, press, and then press with my iron. So I'm going to do that to all of these after I finish cutting them, and then I'll come back and show you what else we're doing. I have my little rotary mat here because what we need to do now is we need to trim these squares down all the way to 3.5 inches. So how I do that is I line up on my diagonal here, right there, the diagonal right here on my ruler, and I line that right here along my seam, my diagonal seam, and I'm just going to come over 3.5 inches on the bottom here and also on the side, but I'm going to leave a little bit extra here because I have a little bit extra to play with, and I'm just going to cut off the excess that's here right now. So go ahead and cut that off, clean that up, and then I'm going to spin my mat. I spun my mat. I'm doing that so that you can get a better eye or a better view of what I'm doing here. So now I'm lining up here on that straight edge that we just cut. So now I know that that is a perfectly straight edge, and I can line up on the 3.5 inch mark on the side here and on the bottom. And I'm perfectly lined up here on the diagonal. And now I'm going to cut off this excess. And now I have a perfectly square 3.5 inch square. So I'm going to do that to all of these. All right, so we're ready to start laying this out. So I like to start in the middle because I find that it's easier to build it out from the center. So I'm going to build my center pinwheel here first. So pinwheel. Looks good. And I do have this on my rotary mat just so I can take this over to the sewing machine and sew the pieces down. Okay, so now I am going to take my other piece here. I'm going to stack that one like that. This one will go in the corner. You'll want to make sure that you pay attention to the instructions that I'm going to put on my website, on my blog, so you'll be able to piece these as well. But I do find it easier to start from the middle and then kind of work your way out, because this can get a little bit confusing. Hold on a sec, let's see. Yes, that's correct. It is like a puzzle, that's for sure. So you got to pay attention to what you're doing. It's not something that you want to just kind of be blowing off, because you will get lost when you're trying to put it together. There we go. And this one is going to go right there, I do believe. Yes. And then we have this one right here, which I believe. So now you can see how it's all come together now. So you just want to take your time putting it together and making sure that you have everything going correctly. Like I said, I do have this drawn out on my website as a pattern, so you will be able to see how to do this and put it together that way as well. And so now I'm going to go and I'm going to sew these together. So I'm going to sew these two pieces together, 1/4 inch down, and I'm going to sew these two pieces together, 1/4 inch down, and then I will sew these two center pieces together, and then I will sew all of the rows together as well. Okay, here we go. Got these two pieces right here. Go ahead and sew those down. If you don't want your fabric to bunch up like this, then you'll want to use a lead, which is what I should have done anyway. I don't know why I didn't. I knew better. So I'm just going to use lead, which is a little piece of fabric that helps to get everything started. And they keep it from bunching up when you start sewing. I'm going to put that back on my little tray there and make sure I have everything correct. I'm going to do the next one now. Also done. Now I'm going to sew these two top pieces together. So you see them right here. So now I'm going to sew those two center pieces together. So our first row is done. Set it back over here. We'll need to press it. Now I'm going to start on my second row, and I'm just going to repeat the same process. I'm just going to sew the squares together. And you do want to sew your seams in opposite, you want to press your seams in opposite directions. That way when you go to put this together, they will nest together perfectly. Press this one that way, bring this back over. I'm going to put these two together. In order to put your rows together, you're going to take your second row, which is the one we have here, and this is our top row, okay? And we are just going to put them together, and we are going to line up our seams, and as you can see, they are going in opposite directions, so they line up perfect. Clip it here. I'm going to do the same thing here. And now I'm just going to put a clip here just to hold these in place and keep them straight. I don't want that to move. And we're just going to start sewing these two pieces together. So again, I'm going to use my lead. Take your time when you're sewing this. It's not a marathon. You don't need to rush through it. And now this piece is done. And you just press it open. I'm just going to finger press it to the top. And we have our first part done, our top portion. So, should have something that looks like that. So now I'm going to finish doing the other rows, and then I will show you what it looks like when it's all finished. Okay, so the block is now done, and I just want to remind you to pay attention to what you're doing, because I just spent the last 30 minutes seam ripping because I sewed some of the pieces wrong. So be careful when you're doing this one. This one is tricky. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. Probably can't, there you go. You can see the contrast better now that it's up close. From far away, it probably doesn't look like that. I probably should have used a darker fabric. So that's another thing that you might want to take note of, is using a darker fabric in here. As well. So, but it'll work for me. I'm not too worried about it. Here's the practice one that I did where you can really see that contrast going on. So that's it. That is it. So I will go ahead and take a picture of this and put it on my blog, and then you can watch this video and see how to put it together. It is fairly simple. Like I said, you just have to lay it out, and you have to follow it exactly as you lay it out. Otherwise, you will do what I did and you will seam rip. So I don't know why I did that, but I did. Anyway, it's been a day for me, so I'm not surprised. If you would like to follow me on social media, the links are down below in the description box. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It helps others to see it. And also, if you'd like to share it, that'd be great, because sharing is caring. Do not forget to click on the little bell. You'll You'll get notified each and every time I upload a new video as a subscriber. And that's it from me today. Keep on crafting. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.